Several historical periods have successfully come across the Kingdom of Bahrain that are rooted deep in history from 3000 BC through 3000 CE. In ancient history, Bahrain was known as Dilmun, Tailus, and Awal, and in the eras of the Middle Ages and modern history, it became to be known as Awal and Bahrain. In the year 629, corresponding to the 8th Hijri year, a letter from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, reached Bahrain, in which he invited its people to join the religion of Islam, to which the people of Bahrain were honored to carry the message of Islam to the other bank of the Arabian Gulf. Bahrain remained part of the caliphates from the Rashidun throughout the Umayyad and Abbasid eras. When Bahrain became part of the Arab Muslim entity that was established by Al-Khalifa. In 1783, Sheikh Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Khalifa al-Khalifa was successful in driving away the forces of the then chief of Bahrain, Nasser al-Madkur, as they attacked Zibara. Consequently, Sheikh Ahmed bin Mohammed took advantage of this victory to emancipate Bahrain and work to ensure its protection. Thus, Bahrain had forces on the ground as well as a navy fleet with about 7,000 fighters and 150 ships. Bahrain Defense Force (BDF) was formed in early 1968 by an Amari decree issued by the late Sheikh Isa bin Salman al-Khalifa, appointing His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa al-Khalifa, who was the Crown Prince at the time, as BDF Commander-in-Chief, following his graduation from Mons Officer Cadet School. At the beginning of the 21st century, His Majesty launched his reform project, which had succeeded in establishing a comprehensive revival of the kingdom. Thanks to good collective efforts and the tireless work of His Majesty the King, as well as the backing of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, Deputy Supreme Commander, and First Deputy Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad, and the Commander-in-Chief of Bahrain Defense Force, Field Marshal Sheikh Khalifa bin Ahmed al-Khalifa, a unified, homogeneous and balanced force was formed to defend the country and ensures its safety, independence, and sovereignty from any outside threat. Bahrain Defense Force was also supported by the Public Security Forces and the National Guard to maintain order and the rule of law and contribute to developing and protecting the civil structure of the country. Bahrain Defense Force supported the kingdom's various security services in cases of crisis, emergency, or natural disasters. It also contributed along with the armed forces of the GCC states in accordance with the framework of the Joint Defense Agreement. Bahrain Defense Force cooperated with the Arab countries within the framework of the Joint Arab Defense Agreement for the Arab League. Bahrain Defense Force coordinated with the allied countries within the framework of the bilateral and international cooperation agreements for the protection of territorial borders, international security and humanitarian operations, and counter-terrorism efforts under the umbrella of the United Nations. The various ground forces units have undergone several stages of upgrading and developing in terms of being armed, trained, and equipped. In addition, an infantry unit was formed to become the core of the maneuvering forces. Ground forces were developed to include mechanized infantry units. Tank units. Special Forces. And the Royal Guard. As well as combat support units, and administrative support units. The Royal Armoured was established, with an armoured vehicle named Salah al-Din, followed by armoured vehicles such as Panhard and the M60A3 tank. The formation of the Royal Bahrain Air Force began with the introduction of two BO-105 helicopters, which resulted in the preparation of the infrastructure to accommodate a squadron of Bell 212 helicopters. The construction phase of the helicopter wing lasted about 25 years at a high rate of safety. The Royal Bahrain Air Force includes a search and rescue team in the helicopter wing, which is a mainstay of emergency operations in the event of war and peace. This team has performed remarkable work in many emergencies, accidents and disasters, including participation in search and rescue operations for crew members of the American frigate Stark in the waters of the Arabian Gulf. After it was hit by a missile on the 18th of May, 1987. Furthermore, F-5, F-16, Cobra and Black Hawk helicopters and Hawk and Firefly training aircrafts. As well as RG, C-130 and Boeing 737 air transport aircrafts, as well as Bell 412 helicopters, entered the service of the Royal Bahrain Air Force. Additionally, the Royal Bahrain Air Force significantly contributes to the Bahrain International Air Show,